Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you this morning is a brand new study the media is touting, all about guns and how they're the problem. The only issue with this is there's some things here that are impossible to refute. For example, how did all of these instances occur? You're going to watch them dance around this. I'm going to show you why this is so crucial, why we pay attention to the reports that they cite, because the key to defeating these people and their gun control desires is in the very reports that they bring us every single day. Everything's be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one, because this is an important one. And if you are new or you returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn the notification bell on. We need as many people as we can to get into the fold with us to help pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation by countering things just like this, of which we do twice a day. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration. The content today is brought to you by Aura. Financial fraud happens everywhere in the United States every single day, and like you, I am vulnerable to it as well. My own personal story, my wife has had her credit card stolen while she was getting gas and would never have noticed that our money was being used incrementally across the United States had she not been looking directly at the app when it was occurring. It is because of this story that I'm happy to partner with our sponsor, Aura. Now, Aura is an easy-to-use app that includes everything you need to stay safe online. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers by scanning the dark web where criminals sell stolen information, looking for your emails, passwords, and social security numbers. It alerts you fast if it finds anything. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. If you sign up right now at Aura, they will give you a 2-week free trial with my link. Go to my sponsored link, aura.com, in the description box below and get your 2-week free trial for yourself. And thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring this content. All right, my brothers and sisters, as I mentioned in the introduction, we have got to hit this brand new report. NPR is citing it, CNN is citing it, so it must be good. Or it's just complete unanimity by a gun control organization called the media. Check this out. I'm going to show you what they're saying, and there's a real fatal flaw here because there's a thing in common that they're refusing to answer almost at the point of torture. Check this out. More than half of Americans have dealt with gun violence in their personal lives. Now, this came out this morning. Again, CNN and NPR. It's linked down there, so you know that they're going in the same direction. But check this out, because this is where it starts to fall apart when you just look at it through a different lens. Specifically, the poll found about 1 in 5 people report having a family member who was fatally shot. The same share say they have been threatened with a gun. 1 in 6 said they had personally witnessed the shooting. Now, here's the interesting piece about this. First of all, I'm going to say something incredibly important. None of this should happen. We don't want any of this to happen. In fact, on our side of the gun rights debate, we take precautions just like what they're about to show you, only our precautions involve self-reliance and protection. Anyway, let's keep going. This is interesting. 1 in 5 people report having a family member who was fatally shot, okay? The same share saying they've been threatened with a gun. Were they threatened by an inanimate object? Were they fatally shot by an inanimate object? Here's the third one. 1 in 6 said they had personally witnessed the shooting. Do you think in those witness statements the gun got up, magically issued a terrible action? Or do you think there might have been one common thread across all of this? An individual. If you don't believe me yet, listen to the rest of the data that they come forward with. I'm going to show you the thread, because this entire thing unravels when you just ask that one question. The findings give a sense how gun violence pervades the daily lives of millions in the U.S. and shapes everyday decisions. Again, they're saying gun violence, we're saying crime. Listen to what this sounds like. The majority of respondents said they take at least one precaution to stay safe from the possibility of gun violence. Like, what do they do, I wonder? About a third say they avoided crowded venues like music festivals and bars, where guns are known to frequent, or criminal behavior is known to frequent. Here's another one. About a third, that's what I just read. More than 40% said they had sought out weapons to protect themselves or had tried to learn how to handle a gun or shoot a gun. Now that stacks with all the demographic switches we've seen, all the new adoption of the Second Amendment we've seen, which is an amazing thing. But here's the root question. Why have 40% of the people who responded to this gotten gun training or bought a gun to protect themselves from an inanimate object? That's the question. Why did they do that? Because if 40%, which is a very large proportion of what they're talking about here, took the action to buy a gun, train with a gun, learn about a gun, what are they protecting themselves from? It's an inanimate object. Just don't go where guns are. Unless there are people attached to those guns. There are people attached to these shootings, and there are people, criminals, attached to these actions. That's what they're protecting themselves against. That's what the media can't say right here. 40% bought a gun or got out training on how to protect themselves. From what? When you ask the gun controllers these questions, they have no answers because it undermines their main point. That's why I'm covering this. I got another thing for you. Check this out. Of those who live in a home with a gun, a startling 3 in 4 report at least one gun is either unlocked, loaded, or stored with ammunition, according to the survey. The results come from the nationally representative sample of 1,271 adults. So they're putting this in as a staggering 3/4 of Americans who have guns don't have them in safety lock boxes. They're the ones that actually have them accessible to defend themselves. And oh my God, they have ammunition with them? These are personal decisions. These are personal responsibility decisions. Again, I ask that same question. Why would they do that? They're not doing that to protect themselves from an inanimate object. They're doing that to protect themselves from crime or the threat of crime or the perception of crime. This undermines the point that it's the problem with the gun. The problem that we have in this nation is a problem with our hearts and our minds, not what's in our hands. This data that they're touting as this mind-blowing data only goes to prove the point that this is a people problem. This is not a gun problem. Another case in point I'd like to bring up is we've had guns in our country, the entire foundation of our country, and all of a sudden this is now a problem. It's almost like the people changed, but the inanimate object didn't. Let's keep going. I got one more thing for you. This is the last quote, and then we'll go about our beautiful day. 1 in 5 had had a family member who's been killed by a gun. 1 in 5 had witnessed a shooting. Nearly 1 in 5 have been threatened with a gun. You put it all together, and the majority of adults in this country have either personally experienced or had a family member experience one of these incidents of gun violence. Again, I ask you, threatened with a gun. How's that possible if it's the gun? The gun's an inanimate object. Did it stand up and say, give me all of your money? Did it stand up and say and coerce you to do things because the gun existed? No. It's attached to a human. That's what they can't say out loud. It's obvious what they can't say. They're trying to make it as hard as they can around gun violence. A made-up term which is all about marketing, when everyone with a common sense thread in their brain understands that this would not happen without criminal behavior and activity. And that's what I've got for you. Their own reports undermine it when you ask a simple question of how. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.